Babylon was one of the oldest and most influential civilizations of the ancient world, serving as the center of power in Mesopotamia for many centuries. And the Romans were deeply obsessed with this city. For the Romans, conquering Babylon wasn't just about expanding their empire, it was also about connecting with the legacy of Alexander the Great, who had already taken the city in the 4th century before the Common Era. In this video, we're going to explore what really happened during Rome's conquest of Babylon. Before Rome had any direct control over Babylon, the city was ruled by several different empires. After the death of Nebuchadnezzar II, the Neo-Babylonian Empire began to decline. In 539 before the Common Era, the empire was conquered by Cyrus the Great, founder of the Persian Empire. Cyrus defeated the last Babylonian king, Belshazzar, and took the city without much resistance. The Battle of Opis, fought that same year, was decisive for Babylon's fall. Alexander the Great played a major role in the shift in Babylon's importance. In 331 before the Common Era, after defeating the last great Persian army at the Battle of Gaugamela, Alexander captured the city and incorporated it into his empire. Although Babylon was still a wealthy and grand city, Alexander's empire was more focused on other regions like Greece and Egypt, and on founding new cities. Alexander initially planned to make Babylon the capital of his Eastern Empire, but that idea was abandoned after his untimely death in 323 before the Common Era. During Alexander's brief rule, Babylon still held some importance, but his empire quickly fragmented among his generals, and the constant battles for control of Mesopotamia made Babylon less relevant. After Alexander's death, the city of Babylon came under the rule of several successors, mainly within the Seleucid Empire, founded by Seleucus I Nicator, one of Alexander's generals. During the Seleucid period, Babylon declined even further. The city, once the heart of a great civilization, was slowly stripped of its capital status as the center of power shifted to Antioch and other cities further north. With the rise of the Parthian Empire in the late 3rd century before the Common Era, Babylon became just another city under the control of an empire whose capital was at Ctesiphon, a city developed by the Parthians along the Tigris River, very close to Babylon. Although it still held some historical significance, Babylon was no longer the cultural or political center it had once been. The Parthian Empire focused on other cities, and Babylon was gradually abandoned in both strategic and economic terms. Under Parthian rule, Babylon was still mentioned for its past grandeur, but it no longer played a central role in the new empire. At the start of the 2nd century in the Common Era, the Roman Empire was at the height of its expansion, and Emperor Trajan, known for his ambition and desire to expand Rome's borders, played a crucial role in this process. He aimed not only to consolidate lands already under Roman control, but also to push the empire's boundaries further eastward, where trade routes and strategic territories were vital to Rome's prosperity. Mesopotamia was a region of great strategic importance. It bordered the Parthian Empire, Rome's main rival in the area. The struggle for control of this land and for securing trade routes made Mesopotamia a key interest for Rome, which sought a strong presence to prevent Parthian dominance over this critical region. In 115 in the Common Era, Trajan launched a military campaign into Mesopotamia. His goal was to expand Roman control and impose tighter rule over the region. To achieve this, he marched toward the Taurus Mountains, located north of Mesopotamia, and gradually moved eastward. Trajan adopted a careful and strategic approach, placing permanent garrisons along his route. This helped solidify the newly conquered territory and protect the empire's new frontiers. This strategic movement aimed not just at military conquest, but also at ensuring stability in the regions Rome intended to absorb. As Trajan advanced from west to east toward Mesopotamia, the Roman commander Lucius Quietus marched with his army from the Caspian Sea westward. The two Roman armies executed a coordinated pincer movement, advancing simultaneously from both fronts to ensure the campaign's success. This joint maneuver allowed Rome to establish a stronger presence in the territory, once controlled by the Parthians. Trajan's advance was successful, and he quickly captured several important cities, including Nisibis and Batnae, two cities located in northern Mesopotamia. The capture of these cities was strategic, as they sat on key trade routes and served as important military control points. Moreover, Trajan established a new Roman province in Mesopotamia, covering a vast area that also included the kingdom of Osroene, a client kingdom previously under Parthian influence. With control over Nisibis and Batnae, Trajan tightened Rome's grip on Mesopotamia. At the beginning of 116 in the Common Era, Roman coins were issued to announce that both Armenia and Mesopotamia were now under Roman rule. Coin issuance was a common Roman practice to celebrate victories and to spread the message of Roman authority in newly conquered regions. These coins helped reinforce the idea that Rome hadn't just won, but now officially ruled over these new lands. These movements and conquests were part of Trajan's effort to establish a solid frontier between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, creating a new Roman defensive line against the Parthian Empire. In 116 in the Common Era, Trajan launched an offensive to take Babylon and other Mesopotamian cities that had previously been under Parthian control. Babylon was far from the glorious city it had once been, but for Trajan, conquering it was a way to associate his name with the legacy of Alexander the Great. Trajan wanted to show that Rome was on par with Alexander's empire, and Babylon, with its historical legacy, was the perfect place for him to attempt that. Trajan advanced toward Babylon from the south, crossing the Euphrates River and marching toward Adiabene, a region north of the city. Along the way, he captured several cities, including Babylon itself. According to historical sources, one of the most significant aspects of the conquest of Babylon was that Trajan didn't just defeat enemy forces, he also took the city with little resistance, likely due to the political decay and strategic insignificance it was undergoing. After taking Babylon, Trajan established temporary Roman control over the city, treating it as part of the newly created province of Mesopotamia. Babylon was then declared a new province of the Roman Empire, which marked a major military achievement for Rome. During this period, the city wasn't destroyed but occupied by the Romans, who attempted to establish some of its administrative and military structures. Trajan used his stay in Babylon to further feed his obsession with Alexander. He wanted to connect with him in every way possible, so he planned a sacrifice at the house where Alexander had died, in Babylon, as a symbolic way to associate himself with the greatness of the Macedonian conqueror. After capturing Babylon, Trajan and his generals tried to organize the region, setting up new fortifications and a road system to secure control over the conquered lands. Babylon became one of the strategic hubs for establishing Roman authority, but local resistance and administrative difficulties made it hard for Rome to maintain its presence in the region. Because of this, Rome's control over the area was short-lived. What began as a military occupation ended up as a temporary province, with Rome attempting to manage the city and its surroundings for a brief period. After conquering Babylon and other cities in the region, Trajan was forced to deal with several challenges, such as resource shortages, military exhaustion, and resistance from other local powers, including the Parthians themselves. In 117 in the Common Era, Trajan, already on his deathbed, was forced to accept peace with the Parthians. The Roman withdrawal from Mesopotamia was a direct result of that peace agreement. When Trajan died, his successor, Emperor Hadrian, chose to withdraw Roman troops from Mesopotamia and other recently conquered areas. Hadrian preferred to focus on defending already established borders and managing the empire internally. As a result, Trajan's conquests in Mesopotamia and other parts of the Parthian Empire were abandoned, and Rome pulled back toward the west. Rome's withdrawal from Mesopotamia had several consequences for both the empire and the region. For the Romans, it was a humiliation, showing that the empire couldn't maintain control over a distant and militarily challenging territory. The withdrawal also highlighted Rome's difficulties in sustaining a long-term presence in far-off lands. especially at a time when the empire's internal borders were already under pressure from other threats, like barbarian invasions in the north. For the Parthians, the Roman retreat was a huge relief. Even though the Parthian Empire was in decline, this uprising and the restoration of Parthian control over Mesopotamia and Babylon ensured they still held some power in the region. However, the Parthian Empire also began facing internal problems, and within a few decades, it would be replaced by the Sassanid Empire, which would continue to clash with Rome for control of the East. Rome's retreat from Mesopotamia and Babylon marked the end of a brief but significant period of Roman control over that part of the ancient world. So if you enjoyed learning more about Rome's short-lived conquest of Babylon, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I'll leave another video suggestion right here for you. See you in the next one.